Welcome to our channel. Today we're diving into the strange and unexpected ends of some of ancient Greece's most notable figures. From lawgivers to philosophers, their demises are as fascinating as their lives. We often think about these figures as larger-than-life legends, but it's important to remember they were also human beings. And like all humans, their time on Earth eventually came to an end, sometimes in the most unexpected ways. So, buckle up as we explore the bizarre deaths of some of ancient Greece's most famous figures. Get ready to be surprised, shocked, and maybe even chuckle a little because history, as you're about to see, can be pretty weird. Let's start with Draco, the Athenian lawgiver, a figure shrouded in both reverence and controversy. Now Draco is known for his incredibly harsh legal code, which earned him the adjective draconian, a term still used today to describe severe measures. I mean, we're talking about a system where even minor offenses were punishable by death. Imagine living in a society where stealing a loaf of bread could cost you your life. But here's the twist. Draco didn't die a violent death at the hands of an angry mob, as you might expect, given the harshness of his laws. Instead, he met a rather peculiar and unexpected end. The story goes that Draco was visiting the island of Aegina, where he was greeted with overwhelming enthusiasm and admiration from the locals. Picture this. Draco enters the theater, and the crowd goes wild, cheering and applauding his presence. They shower him with gifts, a common way of showing respect in ancient Greece. But this time, the gesture went to an extreme. But this wasn't just a few flowers or coins. The gifts kept coming and coming. We're talking cloaks, hats, tunics, all raining down on Draco in a seemingly endless stream. The crowd, in their exuberance and admiration, literally buried him alive under a mountain of clothing, suffocating him. It's a bizarre and tragic end for a man known for his harsh laws, suffocated by the very people who admired him. Talk about irony, right? It makes you wonder if Draco ever considered adding a law against excessive gift-giving, or if he ever imagined that admiration could be so deadly. The story of Draco's death, whether entirely accurate or somewhat embellished over time, serves as a reminder that even in ancient Greece, expressing admiration could have unintended and rather suffocating consequences. It also highlights the power of storytelling and how these tales, whether true or not, shape our understanding of history. Even if the details are debated, the image of Draco buried under a pile of clothes is a powerful one, and it's helped to keep his name alive for centuries, a testament to the enduring nature of his story. So next time you're at a concert throwing your hat on stage, maybe take a moment to remember Draco and the dangers of overzealous fandom. It's a lesson from history that still resonates today. Next up, we have Pythagoras, the mathematical genius who gave us the Pythagorean theorem, a fundamental principle in geometry that is still taught in schools today. Now, Pythagoras wasn't just a math whiz. He was also a philosopher and the leader of a mystical religious group known as the Pythagoreans. These Pythagoreans had some unusual beliefs, even by ancient Greek standards. They believed in reincarnation, the transmigration of souls, and they followed a strict set of rules. One of their biggest no-nos? Beans. Yes, you heard that right, beans. The Pythagoreans believed that beans, with their somewhat human-like shape, harbored the souls of the dead. Eating beans was considered akin to cannibalism. Now, you might think this bean aversion wouldn't be much of a problem, but for Pythagoras it proved fatal. The story goes that Pythagoras was being chased by a group of enemies. He came to a bean field, but instead of running through it to escape, he stopped dead in his tracks. Why? Because he'd rather die than defile himself by touching beans. And that's precisely what happened. His pursuers caught up with him and, well, let's just say they weren't there for a philosophical debate. Pythagoras met his end at the edge of a bean field, a victim of his own unwavering convictions. It's a tragic and somewhat absurd end for a man of such intellect. Imagine being remembered not just for your groundbreaking mathematical theorems, but also for your fatal aversion to beans. But that's the thing about history, isn't it? It's full of these strange juxtapositions, these unexpected twists that make you realize even the most brilliant minds can be bound by seemingly irrational beliefs. Pythagoras' story serves as a reminder that human nature is complex and often contradictory. Despite his incredible contributions to mathematics and philosophy, his life was also marked by peculiar and rigid beliefs that ultimately led to his demise. So, the next time you think about the Pythagorean theorem, remember the man behind it and his unusual yet fascinating life story. Let's move on to Heraclitus, a philosopher known for his cryptic pronouncements about the nature of change. His ideas have fascinated scholars for centuries. Heraclitus believed that everything in the universe is in constant flux, famously saying, "You cannot step into the same river twice." This metaphor has been widely interpreted and discussed. Ironically, it seems Heraclitus himself couldn't escape the relentless flow of fate, even when it came to his own health. His life took a dramatic turn due to a serious medical condition. Heraclitus, according to some accounts, suffered from dropsy, a condition we now call edema, where the body retains excess fluid. This condition can be quite debilitating and uncomfortable. Now, ancient Greek medicine wasn't exactly known for its gentle touch. The treatments were often harsh and could be more painful than the ailments they aimed to cure. Treatments often involved purging, bloodletting, and other rather unpleasant procedures. These methods were based on the belief in balancing bodily humors, but Heraclitus, ever the independent thinker, decided to take matters into his own hands. He sought an alternative remedy that was as unconventional as his philosophical ideas, and his chosen remedy? Manure. Yes, you heard that right. He believed in the healing properties of this unusual substance. Yes, you heard that right. It might sound bizarre to us today, but Heraclitus had his reasons. Heraclitus believed that by covering himself in cow manure, he could draw out the excess moisture from his body. This was his attempt at a natural cure. Think of it as an ancient Greek mud bath, but with a much less appealing aroma. The idea was to use the manure's properties to absorb the fluid. Unfortunately for Heraclitus, his unconventional treatment didn't go as planned. The results were far from what he had hoped for. There are different versions of the story, but they all end rather badly. The details vary, but the outcome is always tragic. One version claims that the manure hardened around him, trapping him in a sort of dung-caked sarcophagus. This would have been a horrifying experience. Another suggests that he was attacked and devoured by dogs, perhaps attracted by the, shall we say, pungent aroma. This version is equally grim. Either way, it's a grim and unusual way to go, even for a philosopher known for his pronouncements about the impermanence of life. His death is a stark reminder of the unpredictability of existence. Heraclitus's death, whether by manure mishap or canine intervention, serves as a reminder that even the most brilliant minds can fall victim to misguided self-treatment. His story is a cautionary tale about the dangers of unconventional medical practices. Finally, we come to Aeschylus, often considered the father of Greek tragedy. He wrote some of the most enduring plays of the ancient world, works that explored themes of fate, justice, and the human condition. But Aeschylus's own life ended not on a grand tragic stage, but in a rather bizarre and unexpected way. The story goes that Aeschylus was walking along one day, minding his own business, when suddenly tragedy struck. And we're not talking about a sudden burst of inspiration for his next play. No, this was tragedy of a more literal kind. Aeschylus was killed by a falling tortoise. You see, in ancient Greece, eagles were known to prey on tortoises. They'd carry the unfortunate reptiles high into the air and then drop them onto rocks to crack open their shells. Now, Aeschylus was, shall we say, follically challenged. He had a rather prominent bald head which, according to legend, an eagle mistook for a convenient rock. The eagle swooped down, tortoise in tow, aiming for what it thought was a hard, inanimate object. Unfortunately for Aeschylus, it was anything but. The impact proved fatal, and thus one of Greece's greatest playwrights met his end, not by a poisoned chalice or a vengeful god, but by a case of mistaken identity and a very unfortunate tortoise. It's a bizarre and somewhat comical end for a man who dedicated his life to exploring the depths of human suffering. It's almost as if fate itself decided to play a cruel joke, reminding us that even in death, there's room for the absurd. So, there you have it. 4 of ancient Greece's most notable figures, each meeting their end in ways that are both strange and strangely compelling. These stories remind us that even the most prominent figures in history can meet their ends in unexpected and sometimes absurd ways. From Draco's suffocating display of affection, to Pythagoras's fatal aversion to beans, Heraclitus's manure mishap, and Aeschylus's unfortunate encounter with a tortoise, these tales highlight the unpredictable nature of life and death. These unusual deaths remind us that even the most prominent figures in history can meet their ends in unexpected and sometimes absurd ways. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more fascinating historical tales.